go stress tonight. Take some time tonight. Gotta get it right, baby, before we lose it. Take a plane tonight. Get away tonight. Take you to the moon and show you what I'm doing. Think about life in the moment. Living my life right now. I be like, shit's too important. No, you can't bring me down. Stop trying hard to please him. You could just be yourself. Right now you're someone else. Right now I'm riding through the city with my windows down. Something's in the air, I can feel that loud. Someone bring me back to life or we all go down. Something's gotta change, I can feel that loud. Yeah, I'll be upset when I see the news. I'm thinking my dad, cause he taught me to be patient with life. You need no approval. I'll be upset, I'll be upset. I'll be upset when I watch the movies. Movies set up to teach you to lose. I'm hard on myself, now I gotta choose to. I'll be upset.
Alrighty. Chris, how are you? How you been since we last spoke?
Busy. I got a bunch of vaulted air in, so I had to spend some time doing the walls.
You're in the office now, huh?
I am. I do everything from the office.
Just to if someone's watching this eventually in the future, to fill them in, this is the second time speaking with Chris, and his Beyond the Collection story started with a Pikachu. It was his first pop ever. Led him down quite the path with his collection. It's pretty impressive. This is stuff that, when you're dreaming at night of Funko Pops that you want to have, this is it right here. And he's got quite the setup. It's going to be an interesting story to hear today, but let's jump into the Pikachu and then we can get off into the other stuff, because the other stuff socks off. So where did you get the Pikachu? What was that? Your first pop ever?
So again, I started with Pokemon, jumped on the craze bandwagon, whatever you want to say, because I just saw the hype, and it was like, I got to get in the hype. And being the owner and being around the school all the time, it's like the kids just jumped on it and it was fun for them. So I'm at a GameStop and I see it and I'm like, I do the Pokemon cards, so I think this would be kind of cool. The kids may like it. So I grabbed it and, sat it on my desk, and then the Pikachu turned into a Raichu, and then the Raichu turned into a Mewtwo, and then the Mewtwo turned into a Growlithe. And, then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, these are kind of cool. And I'm starting to stack them up. And then I go to my niece's house and she just happens to say they have a bunch. And she's like, yeah, I can't find one of these pops. And I think it was one of the ones from, I'm trying to remember what movie it was. What is the hockey movie with the Mighty Ducks?
Mighty Duck, yep.
It was one of the Mighty Ducks. So I was like, I bet I can find it for you. And it was like, that one statement started like, so Pikachu was number one, and then my niece needing something for her collection. And then that's what made me realize these things are even cooler than I expected. Like, there's a hunt behind them. And I found that one, and it was like light of the eternal flame.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, it just opens the door and it's like, oh, it's like Pandora's box opens. You can't go back.
Oh, it's done. You're done. You're like, wait a minute. They make that one? Oh, wait a minute. They have that movie? And again, I was such a movie buff growing up. It was like, all of a sudden, it was like I said, my favorite all time, like you can love Marvel, you can love DC, you can love everything. But my first superhero was Flash Gordon. Mm-hmm. It's like, Flash Gordon was the man. And I think it's because my father was big into music and Queen did the musical score. So it was like the best of both worlds. Like, it's like, and my family won't watch the movie because they're like, it's so boring and old. And I'm like, it's the greatest movie ever.
It's my childhood in there.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So yeah, sorry, keep going.
No, I was going to say, then I think that actually made one of my favorite superheroes. It was Hawkman. And if you think about Flash Gordon, it had the Hawkman. So it just started this, like I said, that eternal flame that just kind of went to, let me find what I can find. And then again, it just grew into what I'm sure we'll talk about in a couple.
Was the Pikachu, did you have in mind, with the school, we're going to jump into this because it's amazing what you're doing, but did you have in mind that you're going to buy this for the kids and they can enjoy it?
Absolutely.
What's the thought?
Absolutely.
What was the thought?
So what I wanted to do is one of the things that I do with the school is our school is very unique in the aspect of we're one of the only schools in the state of Florida that don't accept scholarships. And scholarships are great and they're fantastic, but our school is just different. We have a lot more, we're smaller, around 200 kids, and our parents are a lot more invested than you see in other places. When we have events, like they show up in droves. But these kids, you remember, I'm sure you remember the hype of Pokemon. You couldn't get product anywhere. I mean, you have grown men going into the store buying everything they can grab, to the point to remember Target and Walmart all like, we stopped carrying it because it's that crazy. So I had some ends with a couple of companies that sold Pokemon online, and through talking to them, like they were like, "We'll help you get some product." So they knew I wasn't buying stuff just to keep for myself. They knew I was doing it to share with the kids because I wanted them to have stuff. So it started into this club. Like all of a sudden, I'm having 40 kids in a Pokemon club, and every single time it's like I'm giving them full art cards or I'm giving them packs of cards. And then it was like eventually it was getting tough to find all that stuff. So it's like, what's the next outlet that I can do that's still Pokemon? And then all of a sudden there's this Funko Pop sitting in front of me. And I'm a fan of Pikachu, even though Charizard seems to be the most popular or the most expensive, but Pikachu's the brand. So I thought, let's do this, and then, then all of a sudden you realize that 15 of the kids in the club are like, I collect those too. And you're like, okay. So, it was just something else to give them that they want, because if they can hold something in their hand and they also can't at that level, they're not really going to damage it like they do a card per se.
Mm-hmm. Is it like a focal point of like a discussion in some way, shape, or form in this Pokemon club? Like when you bring that Funko Pop in or those trading cards in, what's the interaction like?
So, it's, 40, can you imagine 40 kids, kindergarten through sixth grade, more on the younger age. Yeah, they're screaming, and it's of course, you go through those times when it's like, not everyone can win this one. Only one kid's going to win. So, you're going to have somebody crying at the end. It's how to navigate, like, are they going to be that upset? Are they going to be this? But I've done a good job, I feel, of making sure that they all know and everybody, they all understand that. But by the time the club's over, everyone's going to get something. It just may not be this week, but everyone's going to go home with something. I've got a lot more collectors in our club that since we started, and the parents are like, well, now I know what my birthdays are. There's themed birthdays that are happening, and I've got kindergartners who are coming up to me at school going, are you coming to my birthday party? And I'm like,
oh man,
I'll make an appearance. And of course, I'm like, are you going to bring Pokemon cards? Are you going to bring Pokemon Funko Pops? And I'm like, yes, I will. I constantly buying stuff like that. It's just, here's this and here's that. And it even turns into the tours for the school. Like, I've had so many kids that have walked away with something in the tour. And again, with the Funko's been better because you can display it better,
yeah.
which again turns into where you came in, with the vaulted vinyl stuff. It was like, how do I display this stuff to where it doesn't look like you've all seen the collectors, and there's nothing wrong with that because some people, that's just how they like it. I just chose to go a different route of, I want my stuff because it's my office, because it's where people come in and it's my business also. It had to be neat and crisp and clean. And then again, that eternal flame was, do I buy every Funko Pop that I see because they're all cool and amazing? And you're slapping yourself on the hand. No, don't buy that one. Buy that one. Go for the one that is unique and special, and has a little more value for me, because a grail to someone may not be a grail to me, or may not be a grail to them. What we find is grails. Your grail is your personal thing. It doesn't have anything to do with value.
Right. And you were mentioning that you give them some away on tours to your school. You give these away.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's something that's great because you're just giving that emotional connection to a kid as soon as he leaves.
100%.
That's amazing. Is there any like educational stuff you do in the Pokemon club? Anything that you talk about, maybe like life or whatever?
100%. So what we end up doing when it comes to it's probably more around the Funkos that are in my office than the Pokemon Club with the cards, because they're the little kids. Whereas the stuff that's in my office, what I kind of use is one of the reasons why I went for quality over quantity was not for the monetary value, not for the someday I can get rich from selling, Funko Pops. It was more along the lines of, when you're teaching 8th, ninth, 10th, all the way up to 12th graders about life. I use the Funkos as an example of everybody can go out and get the common Funko. And there's nothing wrong with that in the beginning, if you want to be something different. So equating it to life was, for me, it's like starting off, if you want to get that job at McDonald's, that's great. All right. And you can make a good career out of those jobs, but you have to work harder and you have to stay with them and you have to go up the ladder. So for me, when I come in, like if you look at the collection, you'll see a lot of the stickers, from, the Comic Cons and all of that stuff. And I'll say, you want to be the employee or the person in your life, whether it's the husband, the employee, the boyfriend, whatever it is, you want to be the one that when people look at you, they look at you and they go, that one is special. That one has more value than that one. Because when you have the stuff that's worth value, whether it's your employee, whether it's the waiter in the in the restaurant, you can tell those people that have more value because they take a little bit more pride in their job. And I say, you want to be the one that the boss says, if we have to make cuts, you cannot let that one go. That employee is special. They do more than they're asked. They're at work early. There's something unique about them. They're LEs, that limited edition, which is what everybody's looking for when you're going for grails. That only has 92. That one's one you're going to hold on to more. And if you do get rid of it, you're going to get something crazy back in return. So we turn that into a life lesson.
That is amazing. So you tell this to the kids and you talk about it to the kids and the limited
Constantly.
edition and all that.
100%. Parents.
And where is that? Is it like in assemblies and in classrooms? What's the context of it?
So it's a lot of times it's tours when a parent comes in and they see it, because the first response is normally like, oh my gosh, what's in this office, and of course what it has value, what the monetary value is per se, and then why it's that way. And then, because at our school, one of the biggest things that we try to teach is character. It's, you can go to school and do anything, but characters, because we have to teach kids how to handle themselves outside of the doors of the school, because there is a world out there. And yes, we are a Christian school, but there's a world out there that they have to be ready for, that they have to go out and they have to know how to handle themselves when they get in a situation, and those are the important things. So I use it in assemblies when I can. We went to chapel on Friday if we get an opportunity to get up on the stage. A lot of times for the younger kids, we just do a lot of fun stuff, and it's about, it's life lessons. It's what's going to be good here, what's going to be good there, how to equate it, how to turn it into, something you're going to use on a daily, in your daily life.
That is unbelievable. I want to share this with you. I have this cube here, and there's one side that says focus, one side that says be appropriate, create value, and then we got character on there, and that's a big one. It's all about who you are when no one's looking, and the decisions 100%. That you make when no one's looking, and that's the base. And that's so great that you're installing that in these kids. We're the school, man, because I view this as like a garden, and you got flowers planted, and you are watering the kids. It is amazing. These guys are growing into beautiful young adults and just on the right path. What made you want to start a school?
So that would be more along the lines of my wife. I've done a little bit of everything in my life, and I've worked in auto auction for 10 years. I sold copiers for several years. And then my wife, was a public school teacher. And then one of the schools that once we started having kids, she backed out of the public school and did some stuff at our house for the older side of a daycare to get the kids ready for kindergarten. And then when my kids started to transition into regular school, or they went to a private school, the school they went to eventually was shutting down because the church was selling, and that's a whole other story on another day. We had all these parents come to my wife and say like, hey, can you teach our kids? And my wife's like, well, I don't know. And at the time she was interviewing for a job at we won't use names, of course, but at a very big school in town that's like super expensive. And it's like, I at the time was like, oh yeah, my kids would get to go for free at this big, high prestigious school. Let's do it. And she came home from the interview where they offered her the job, and they said to her, well, my wife said to them, like, I'm being led in a different direction. God's telling me to do something different. So she said, God's telling me to open our own school. So, I'm like, really? I'm not hearing that right now. And after about, I don't know, probably 5 minutes of sitting there listening to her tell me that story of how she was feeling, I said, what do we need to do? So in 2007, we opened the school with 16 kids in our home. And here it is now, 2022, and we have, roughly 200 kids in our own property, our own facility. We have, sports, and, our biggest thing is all things are possible for those who believe. And that being said, everything that we accomplish and get is because the parents and, walked the path that we've walked. And we've won, we were told by other schools, you will never have sports. Well, we have played for every state championship in our conference in all of our varsity sports. We've won back-to-back state championships in basketball. I mean, our first year in a conference, we played for the soccer state championship. We lost, but we played, and that's all, that's what it's about. It's about being there. It's about walking that path. And, we don't take anything for granted. That's why everything we do here, being in Florida, we always say, we're like, when you go to Disney, it's an experience. We want, when you come to our school, it's an experience. And one of the things that we've done is we've make it like family. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times we've laughed with kids and cried with kids because we see kids who've battled cancer, parents who've battled cancer. We've lost a couple of parents the last few years to cancer, but we've been blessed enough to that those parents allowed these kids at the school to walk that journey with them. So they're learning valuable life lessons. It's not like we're turning a back to what's out there, what they have to realize, like you're going to have bad days. It's what's going to make that bad day a little bit better.
That is unbelievable, man. Now I'm seeing you and your wife in a vision in the dirt. I guess this is the best way for me to think about this. I think about it as a garden. Like I said, it's like the dirt that you have for the foundation of these kids growing is unbelievable. How do you find the teachers, the coaches, everyone around you that supports this? Because you got to get them on the same ship. How do you do that?
So we're big on believing that, God will put you where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. And we've had teachers that have come in and been here for 1 year, but that was the season that they were supposed to be here. And just like a garden, I mean, every now and then you do have, for lack of a better way to say it, you do have a weed that'll get in there. You have to learn how to get rid of those weeds quickly before they take over. And I think one of the things that I feel like that makes my wife and I so unique, and I hate talking about ourselves, like it's just something we just don't really do, but in this context, you kind of have to. We try to lead by example. We're here every day early. We're here every night late. We don't ask anybody to do something that we wouldn't do ourselves. Like currently right now, as I'm in my office talking to you, almost our entire staff is out there setting up for prom tonight. I mean, and it will look amazing and the kids will have fun because we do everything that you would normally do. We are not your typical private school. And I take pride in that. We like I said, when you leave our school, we want you to know that you had experiences that other schools are not going to give you, or other schools that can give you, but they have 3,000 students. It's a big difference when you have 3,000 students than when you have 200. And our uniqueness is just our teachers buy in from the day one. Like when we do our teacher training, like we let them know, like, it's going to be a ride. Like you're going to cry. I mean, we have a new teacher that just started the other day as a substitute, a permanent substitute, because we always need help. And he literally says to my wife the other day, he's like, how do y'all do this? I've never had more emotions in my life than I have in this first week. We're like, welcome to the ride.
What is it? What was it? Why the emotions? What was it?
Because you see kids who are just, invested. There's a brochure, I wish I had it in my office to show you a picture of, that we hand out to all of our parents. And usually when I'm doing a tour, it always makes me cry every time I see it, that page, because there's a little kid on it. And I took the picture with my iPhone from the back, and he's standing there and he's just got his hand up, and you see from the back, he's just praising. And that's a kid that the reason why he was doing that was it was at our, what we call Praise for the Cure. It's our cancer event that we do every year. And at that time, his mother was battling cancer. And I stood there and watched this little kid who was first grade. And I watched him with that hand up, that right hand up. And as soon as the right hand got tired, like he put it down and immediately left hand up. And just thinking about what him and his family were going through, but yet this little kid was more of an example than half the parents that it's like he believed, because his mother, and we knew at that time, like she battled it for 6 years, and she lost the battle last year, and it hurt. I mean, it hurt. But those kids are here, and those are two of the kids that I've said it 100 times. Like, when I grow up, I want to be as strong as those two kids, because you see a dad now who's a single dad who's got two of the most amazing kids, and he's still doing whatever he needs to do. And us as a family of his family, being that we're, we just, those are the stories that I enjoy telling, but they're hard to tell. We have a bench out front that now has two moms' names on them, and we know someday we'll be adding another name. But that's life.
Yeah. In like in this pop culture realm, and you sharing Funko Pops and Pokemon cards, it's something I've spoken before to other people, but it's superheroes. And you really think about superheroes in real life, and it can be in many different forms that I've seen. And, when we look around, as you were mentioning with the young kid and that single father, and then throughout my time with baseball, I had, the opportunity to spend a lot of time with kids with disabilities or kids in the hospital. And then you got to see them, and then the parents that are going through it in the darkness and continue to like try to find the light. And to me, that is the superhero, because that's what I look to for inspiration, right? And you can find inspiration from anybody, but like people that are going through it into the storm of the dark emotions of like real life things happening to you, things getting taken from you, and pushing forward. Oof, that's it right there. That is it right there. So, man, thank you for sharing that story on that one. Jeez. Okay. Your Funko Pop collection.
Yeah.
I want to jump back to it because it's all, it's all within the same bubble here, but beyond the collection, this is what this is, beyond the collection. And, I'm looking at your photo, the Pikachu pop that you have here.
Yeah.
And then you like pan to the collection. It's an unbelievable collection, but then you realize what that collection represents and the meaning that it has to so many people that come through your school and through your office, young kids to adults, as you said. Just give me some words in your collection, because that is far more than just a typical collection. That is, that opens doors into the eternal flame, right?
I have probably made more connections based on this collection of people that I've talked to and stuff like that. I mean, the other day when I posted the pictures and I'd sent you some stuff and you reposted it, and I probably had 200 people reach out to me. I mean, I got to the point where I quit typing about the vinyl. I'm just, saying it into the phone, because there was so many. Where did you get those? Where did you get those? I had people saying things like, dude, my wife hates you right now, but I love your collection. And I'm like, well, it's been one of the funnest things that I've been able to do, because I've made some really cool connections. Because again, from not knowing anything about Funko, because this collection literally has been put together in the span of like 8 months. And that's ridiculous. I mean, people will post, I'll post a group of Funkos that I bought, and they'll post on there like, dude, I wish I had your job. And it's not about the money. And again, I wouldn't have been able to do it if I hadn't have been able to sell a lot of the other Pokemon stuff that I bought. But I just decided like I wanted to make an investment into something that was cool, that would be fun for everybody around me, which if you watch the Funko documentary, it's kind of the basis of what started Funko. And that's why he called it that. I mean, it's fun, but it brought back so many memories to my childhood. And, my childhood was great. I had great parents, great things, but, my mother and father split up when I was little. So I was raised a lot by my grandparents because my dad still had a life, and all of them were great people. But I found myself loving, the Muppets, loving He-Man, again, you can go down so many of these roads, the Justice League, as much as Marvel is awesome, the Justice League's what it was back in when I was a kid. You know, I mean, those were the things that you did, and it just brought so much fun to be able to do. And again, I got really lucky in finding someone that was selling off their collection. And I got very fortunate that that person that I met online, like he had stuff that like, wow. And because he needed to sell some stuff, and I knew going into it, I wasn't going to cheat him. I paid him good money for everything, but I was able to get stuff that when I would go to these cons, you just don't see. You know, like you never. I mean, I have stuff in my office that I've never seen at a con, you know, or at a show. And when the guy literally says to me, "Hey, I'm only going to sell to you," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, what?" So it kind of forced me in a way to buy a lot more stuff quicker, because it's like I knew at some point he's going to be selling to somebody else, and it's like you get that little itch, like, what if he sells that one to somebody before he sells it to me? So I'm just like, you know, please sell to me. So that, but it created this friendship. So even beyond the Funko, which is cool to get, he and I are now friends. Like he's wanting me to fly up to his area and go fishing and go skiing. And like he'll FaceTime me and show me the room where he's cleaning stuff out. It's like we made this kindredship now. And, you know, I've made that with so many different people. Like I've actually considered doing something in my office because it's such a cool office, you know, where some of the guys here locally, we're going to get together and meet in my office and just sit and talk Funkos. And how can we make that have fun? Because you think about it, when they're going to these shows all the time, they put themselves in a bubble where it's like, you know, they can't do anything but that. And they want an outlet to just be able to come and talk and have guy time and just have some fun. And, you know, it's a neat journey. And that's what it is. It's a journey of, can I find it? You know, can I find it at a good price? You know, some people need that money. I'm happy to give some of that to get some of the things that I want, for the nostalgia of it over the value, really. You know, it is cool. I mean, I will say I think Whatnot has really done a lot for the industry, more than people will probably ever know. But it's just been fun. And that's the whole thing for me, is it's been fun. And don't do anything if you're not having fun. You know, it's like the first time you and I spoke, you know, and you were talking about, I could tell how much fun you had creating, you know, your passion for what you created. And that's one of the reasons why as soon as they came in, I was like a kid in a candy store. I'm just like, we were having an event and my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm hanging up my cases." She's like, "But we're having an event out there." I'm like, "They don't need me right now. I have to hang these cases right now."
Man, that brings me so much joy to hear that. That is so great. So you've created this other realm in your office that is, you just step into this different place. Are you able to show us around?
Yeah, yeah. Let me just flip it around here.
Let's do
and,
that. One, I want to see, and I'm sure at some point when someone's
okay.
watching this, they're going to want to see this.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to the door and just kind of take you through the office a little bit. You know, from when you first walk in. So when you first walk into the office, this is kind of what you get. You get the Pokemon, you know, the 10 inches up there, and then you immediately look right back, and then you've got some stuff here. But the focal point, again, I decided to do some sodas, and if I was going to do the sodas, I was going to do some of the bigger ones. So, you know, I've gotten some of the larger valued sodas, just because there's so many sodas that are out there. Back there's the Pokemon. I'll get a little closer to that in a minute. And then you start seeing the vaulted airs up there on the wall. And then you come across, and then there's more there. And I'll get you a little closer to some of them. And then you come over to the Muppets down here, you know, which, you know, was a really, you know, Swedish Chef was my favorite, of course. And then you just get through that. And then up here is, you know, some Disney stuff. And then I also have all of the Zodiac signs are up there. But then you get to, and I literally did a whole blacklight section. So you got the black lights up there, but then I put black lights on the wall.
Oh yeah.
So, and then you get into here, which, you know, these are the three first Funkos I bought from that one guy in the collection. And it seemed like it took me forever to break through for him to sell them to me. But then, you know, get a little bit this way where the sun's not bad. And then I just had to go straight up. But once I got him to sell me those three, it was like, hey, what else can I get from you? I'm sure you see that product there. That's one of yours. You know, the Marvin the Martians had to go in there. And like I said, my Justice League stuff down here, trying to get all the chases, but that penguin is eluding me, but I'll find it. And then over here, just, you know, more of the, this wall is more superheroes and stuff of that nature. And then the other wall is a little bit more of the sports and Disney. And look, another one of your products there. That was, had to have it. And then, you know, this is kind of like the ultimate grail wall, although there's a lot of grails on the other two walls. But this is like the big nine as of now. And then, you know, what I did with the Pokemon is the diamonds had to be here. And then you had to have big Pikachu up there in the corner looking over the office. And then, like I said, behind my desk is the, you know, the large 10-inch ones that just had fun putting up. And I'm a shoe guy too, so I had to have shoes back there. And, you know, and then again, there's more there's more on that wall. And, you know, my wife's like, oh, you can't put anything over the logo. And I'm like, no, I can't put anything over the logo. That'll never get covered up. So
right. It would be disrespectful.
It would be. It would. I think she would draw the line there. So that's just kind of the collection in a, you know, in its whole. And, you know, it's again, it's been extremely fun to put together. And I thank you for a lot of that, because it's made it a lot more fun. Because in the beginning, when I started getting the other cases, and they're fantastic, don't get me wrong, they're a great case to put up. But when you're buying from me, when I was getting these, you know, the more expensive pops, you know, you want to keep them in something a little more protected. So that's where your stuff came in, and that it actually made it more fun because they were more out there for people to see, which is one of the things I was missing with the Pokemon. Because if you send something off to get graded, which I did, I mean, I'm still waiting on cards that I sent out 2 years ago. So I don't know if I'll ever get them back. But with Funkos, you know, you don't have to wait. You could put them on up for display now. I mean, I had to wait a little bit for your stuff to come in, but it all came in, you know? Yeah. And that was just because of that high demand.
Yeah.
So
when people come into your room, is anybody aware of what is in there? Is anybody aware of the value of what you have in there?
Yeah, there's a few people here, and you know, they know. They're always like, I can't believe you even let people in here, you know, and like, you know, do you have like 75 locks on your doors and stuff of that nature? And you know, I do have some stuff set up to where they know, you know, where they can't come in. And you know, when I'm not here, it is sorry.
Call from E4.
You can take it if you need it
on a Saturday. No, it's a Saturday. But yeah, I mean, it's but again, I'm not afraid. I mean, yeah, it would suck if somebody were to break into my office, but you know, but I'm not afraid in the aspect of that's not what it's here for. You know, and if something were to happen, which, you know, knock on wood, it never does. I mean, I would turn it into, I would be mad. I'm not going to lie. I'd probably, but at some point I would turn it into a story. You know, I really would. So.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone would take anything, but I think it's just so great, you know, have a kid walk in there and he sees, for example, like what a chase Batman or whatever it might be, and he just thinks that Batman is cool, and it's just like little does he know how, you know, just how much value these things have. I think that's for most people. You know, most people when they're unaware of Funko Pops, you know, they're like, "What do you think? It's just a little toy."
That is a story that I go into a lot where people will say like, I didn't know, or I didn't do this, or I actually had one of our staff members come to me the other day and say that one of their friends, unfortunately, were getting ready to go through an ugly divorce. And in that story, she says, yeah, they have a huge Funko Pop collection. And right now, one of their biggest arguments is who gets what. And I'm like, well, you know, I was like, I mean, they could draw their name out of a hat, like, you know, odd and even, and go down there, you know, if they have them listed on, you know, the hobby database, you know, you get 1, you get 2, I get 3, you get 4. I mean, you know, I was trying to, but, you know, it was like, that would be a big argument. You know?
Totally. I mean, some of this, I mean, I don't know how much you have in that room, but you could probably, you're getting close to getting up there buying a house with it.
Yeah, my wife keeps reminding me that because at some point we have some plans for relocating and doing something, and she keeps saying to me literally those same things, like, "Hey, when are you going to sell?" And I'm just like, "Well, not right now," you know, because there's so much more of the story that needs to be told right now. I mean, you know, I'm actually going to sell off some of my older stuff for the smaller stuff that's in the room. My goal, and I don't know how this will sound or whatever, but my goal was that everything that's on the wall is valued at $100 or more. That's what I wanted my wall. I wanted my wall for myself. And again, it has nothing to do with numbers and you know, but I wanted this wall to have a certain value above, you know, it does have a monetary value, but it has more of a value of what it means eclectically to the people and the kids and stuff of that nature. But I just wanted it to be something cool, you know, something that, you know, my kids love it. You know, my son especially. My daughters laugh at me all the time with my son, you know, because his other friends are like, "Your dad's a beast." I'm just a big kid. You know,
Their dad is a beast, but it's not because of the Funko Pop collection. It's because of what you're doing with that school, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. It's definitely been it's definitely fun. It's a journey that I'm very fortunate to be on. It's a ride that I don't ever want to get off. You know, like it's like when you go to the roller coasters, you know, don't you wish you could just say to the guy, like, "Hey man, I want to ride again." Like, let everybody else get on, but I'm gonna stay in the seat. And it's like I feel like I get to live that life every day. I'm gonna stay in the seat and ride the roller coaster again with, you know, different kids coming in every year. You know, a parent was talking to me last night. His son's getting ready to go off to college, and one of the things that I always offer all the kids, but more for the boys, just because it's a guy thing. And you know, I coach soccer and I do a lot of stuff with sports, and they all have my cell phone because I tell them, like, this doesn't stop when you leave FCA. It's when you're done. I want you to when you're having a decision that you need to make, call my phone. It's always right next to the bed. You know, because that's not where leadership. It's not where friendship. It's not where coaching. It's not where that stops. You know, they were here, and again, that family. So, and there's been times when I've had phone calls. I've had phone calls from former students sitting outside of a club that they shouldn't be going into, and literally call me and say, "I need someone to tell me to go home." I'm like, "Okay, start the car and go home." And they're like, "Okay." And I stay on the phone with them like I'm back in my apartment. I'm like, "Good choice," you know. And yeah, and you know, they're not always going to make the right decisions, but if they're thinking about it, that means we did a good job. You know, because that's the thing. That's where that character comes in, that consciousness. You know, it's the people that just jump in, not knowing how deep the water is. You know, they're not knowing what's in that water. You know, you want to make sure you've done your research first.
Mm-hmm. The lions. I see the lion in the back. I see the lion up top. Talking about leadership and being one that looks after their people. What's the lion's representation for you there?
So again, you know, when you watch, you know, the lion and Jesus, you know, they both, you know, together in that. For me personally, what I personally like about the lion is that, of course, but for me, it's more about when that lion speaks, everyone hears it because it just holds that. I think it's like 3 miles away that they can hear a lion roar. You know, it's like when you go to Disney and you're going through Animal Kingdom, like the people that get to hear him roar, you know, when he does roar every now and then, it's like, wow, you know, there's just that thing to be said about that statement, you know, and it's like, because when he's doing it, it's for a reason. He wants someone else to hear it because he's got something to say, you know, and that's kind of what we tell the kids here. It's like, you know, listen, you know, first rule of sales, you know, if someone else is talking, if you want to know how to sell them something, listen to what they're telling you. They'll probably tell you everything you need to know to make that sale, you know. But unfortunately, we live in a society now to where we want to talk over people. You know, we feel like we know what they want more than they know what they want. you know, and that's what I like about what you do with this beyond the collection, the spotlight, all this stuff is like, you literally looked at it again, same thing with you, same thing with Funko. You do the things that you like, and then the people jump on board with it because they enjoy, because there was thought. And when you said it with such a roar, you know, when Funko did it, he's like, no, these bobbleheads are cool. People are going to like these. Listen to me. They'll like these, you know, and they did. Same thing with you. It's like, look, if I put this out, you're going to like these. People are going to like these. And boom, look what it turned into. I mean, how many did you have sold? And that, you had so many sold after that first wave, like people were waiting on them. Like even me, like you saw it, we talked about it last time. Like I bought some and it was like, well, maybe I should buy some more. Well, actually I'm gonna buy 3 more. You know, and it was like, because there was this anticipation, you know. It's like our school with the small numbers, like we do small class sizes, because it's like there's not 7 million of them out there. You know, it's like, you want a spot here, you've got to get here. It's a valued spot. Same thing with your stuff. It's like, if you want to put this stuff up on the wall, you better order it now, because the second wave is coming, and we're going to sell out of the second wave too. Have wave 3 and wave 4, but that's the joy of the wave. Is like, it just keeps coming. It just keeps coming. You may have to wait for it, but it just keeps coming. But back to the lion, it just shows that power. And at the same time, it's also, it's unique to me. I mean, it comes out with a presence, when it stands up there and you can see it looking over, the pride, it's just a big deal.
I think about the lion, and to me, when I look at a lion like that, I think about being yourself. No one needs to tell the lion to be a lion. Lion, it just is,
No.
But sometimes I think it takes some time to figure out how to be the lion that you are.
Right.
And it takes a lot of failure, it takes a lot of successes, takes a lot of belief in yourself to do it. But it's like gradually over time, and as I go through the journey, same deal for me. So I'm speaking to myself here. It's you just keep moving forward with that, with presence in the moment, and then eventually what you speak will be the roar that you wish to have. So, man.
Failure is the big thing there. Like I like the word failure, because if there aren't failures in life, you never learn or appreciate success. It's like sports. I do a lot with our sports, and I tell our kids all the time, like, and we've been very fortunate to win a lot, to be such a small school, because we have a very small pool to pick from. So it makes it, even for lack of a better grammar, more special to when we win these big things, because these other schools look at us and they go, how do you do it? And that's where those families being invested in. And we figured out how to be our lion. We figured out who we were, and we don't try to change that. We know who we are. We're going to be that person. We're going to stand out, even to the lime green you see in our colors, like, we are who we are. We want to make a presence. Like we just recently had a family donate money for us to buy a van. And when we bought this van, like, the first thing I said was, it has to be cool. So like, it's matte black with the big lion logo down the side, to where we went to an event last night, and like, my wife said to me, we're at a cross country match, and from the top of the hill, she says, I didn't really appreciate the van until I turned and looked, and there was 20 other white vans sitting there, but then there was our lion, because it says lions on the back. And she was like, I found us within, it was so easy because we stood out. I'm like, that's what we wanted, and that was the whole point. And if you're going to do something, whether it's the collection, whether it's that, do something that makes you stand out. Do something that makes you special. Do something that makes people look at you and go, that's somebody I want to know, or that's somebody I want to be like, or that's somebody I want my kids to know, our kid, be special. And that doesn't mean be better than someone else. That just means be special, because there's so much things out there that are special. Be one of those things. Don't be part of the group. Be special.
That's it right there. It's recognizing that everything you do and everything you say, all your actions, which is all you can control, your thoughts and actions, realizing like that's your output, that's your message to the world. And if you really hone in on that and realize that the details matter and every little detail matters, that is where you can find that unique voice, that your lion, your inner lion. And it just speaks to you. You'll feel it inside of you and go with it.
100%.
Also, real quick, and we can connect later as well. But like, if we can do anything to help support the school in some way, shape, or form, we can get creative with it, and we'll do something fun. I'm here to support you in any way that I can.
I appreciate it, man. I really do. I mean, I enjoy. I mean, this has been fun for me. Like, I mean, off to the side of, you know, it's just cool. You're who you are. You are who you are. But this is again one of those things like making cool connections with, you know, with people like you. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you took the time to reach out to me, and we were trying to find each other, man. You're a light in the community, and that's how it happens, man. We get discovered, you know. That's Funko.
That's just, you know.
Dude, I love the cases. I'm so happy that they came in. I mean, it was funny because when the first batch, like I got the first batch in, and then like the second, like I was waiting on 4 more to come in because they came in like 2 days later, and like I was itching. It's like, when are they coming? When are they coming? I gotta finish the wall. I had everything ready. It's like I gotta finish the wall. So, but yeah, man, it's cool. They look good. And they're so easy to do, man. They're so easy to put up. So again, kudos, man, to the engineering behind all this.
Man, I'm glad you're enjoying it. We got some awesome shit coming, dude. It's gonna be so great. I'm itching. I'm itching. Like I said, there's no doubt in my mind you got several people who probably ordered from you based on my pictures the other day. It was fun. It was really fun seeing all the people that just kept. I mean, I literally typed your name and said your name minimum 200 times. Where did you get those? Where did you get those? Where did you get those? And I'm like, vaulted vinyl, man. Vaulted vinyl. Chris, I'm grateful for you, man. You know, you think about the journey and journey of life and what's brought me to this moment here and all of that. Same with your life. And it's just like you realize that it's not me doing this. It's happening through me, and it's the people around me supporting me that make this possible. If it wasn't for you and all the crew out there, there would be no need for any of this. So to be able to create and do that and have you guys support, I mean, it means the absolute world to me. I get to live my dream, create for you guys, and it's just us and the crew. And I'm so excited for the future. We're gonna knock it out of the park for you guys in any way that we can, and we'll continue to provide value in whatever we can.
No doubt.
All right, man.
All right, brother. We'll go have lunch.
Yeah, we'll see you. Take care.
Bye.